What kinds of probiotics should I give my child?
So that's a wonderful question. When you think about the types of probiotics, I can tell you, having been on this GRAS panel that the FDA held, believe it or not, in 1996, so some 25 years ago, where probiotics, at least in the United States, were kind of looked on a little bit warily. There's been an explosion of interest in them, whether it's the bacteria that are live cultures in yogurt, which are a sort of probiotic, to actual probiotics that you can buy. You can now walk into any fast convenience store and you'll see a wall of probiotics, each of whom has all of its claims of being able to confer this and to confer that in terms of their health benefit. So when parents are faced with that difficult choice, what I typically advise is that they're really a very small handle of these that truly have good data, not an advertisement that says doctors say, but actually clinical studies that have given that particular probiotic in a defined dose for a defined duration of time with a very specific outcome that they're looking at in terms of both the safety and the benefit. And that really is a very small handful. So, for example, Culturelle or Lactobacillus GG, which can be found actually in infant formula. An example is Nutramigen, which is an extensively hydrolyzed formula that can be used in babies that have cow's milk protein allergy. There's an added benefit with the probiotic Lactobacillus GG or Culturelle in that. So that's one of those that we'll recommend. The Gerber Soothe drops, which have L-Reuteri, there's data and everything from colic to spitting up to even functional abdominal pain. eVivo, I mentioned, which Evolve Biosystems has looked at, and the people at UC Davis in newborns, and in particularly those that are not breastfed. And lastly, a probiotic called a Visbiome. It used to be called BSL-3, which is probably the only multi-strain probiotic that has been looked at in diseases like inflammatory bowel disease. So really, that's just four. When you think of the whole slew of probiotics that you can see if you walk into a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or even your local grocery store, and in terms of picking the ones that have data, that have evidence in a number of different conditions. And those would be the ones that I typically list for parents when I'm sending them home from the office in terms of probiotics to particularly choose. One other additional piece on which probiotic would you recommend, and I think this is important because the next question, and as a parent, I would think this too, is, well, which one is best, Dr. Gold, in terms of using it? And it's important to recognize that at least as of today, July the 8th, 2021, and at least in the foreseeable future, there are no head-to-head trials in which one probiotic has been compared to another with a very specific disease outcome, a dose of the probiotic, looking at safety and outcomes. So all of the probiotics that I named to you have been looked at as the single agent that was tested in a particular disease condition. There's great data and there's good data on the outcomes and safety in the four that I mentioned, but to tell you that one is better than the other, I can't do that because those head-to-head trials have not been done.